What's up, everybody, and welcome to a brand new episode of Lococast. This is episode 9, 8? I honestly am not 100% sure, but anyhow, I'm here with my good friend, Nature Hoot.
How do you not know what episode you're on?
I'm gonna be honest, it's been one of those days where my mind just hasn't worked the best. In fact, to the point where, by the way, I am your host, Locolizardman, aka Retro Modern Elijah. I forgot to introduce myself. See, I was thinking of you more than myself.
Yeah, I should have led with that.
We have an interesting show for you guys today. Now, before we get into things, a little bit of housekeeping. If you guys could do me a major favor, go to your podcast service of choice, which I guess you'd be on right now if you're listening to this, and give a review. It really does help. And if you want to go one further, create an iTunes account, even if you don't use it, and give a review there too. That's actually major. I didn't realize how big that is, but it actually is super important. So any reviews like that would be a huge, huge help. Trying to think if there's anything else to really get into. Newest episode of Horror Trip is up, where I go into the reasons why I like Layers of Fear and why I'm excited for the upcoming Layers of Fear 2. And be ready because next Friday, my review of Layers of Fear 2 will be up. Dear God, I will have it done in time. But I do believe that's everything. Nature Hoot, let's start with you. What have you been playing?
A grab bag of VR game
Oh, grab bag is fun.
and one non-VR game, which I'm not going to talk about a lot because it's probably not going to interest people, which is a Grand Theft Auto RP circle. And when I first heard of that, I'm like, I'm not a nerd. I'm not going to play that. And it's like playing Grand Theft Auto online. Instead, real players are and you sell crack cocaine to innocent people.
I think I actually enjoy it so much more seeing what you guys say in the Discord without knowing what's going on.
Yeah.
Because just it brings my head. I'm like, all right, here's the scenario that I'm imagining is going down, but is actually probably not what's happening.
Yeah, one of our friends, Alex, gets put in prison every day.
That doesn't surprise me.
And I've yet to get pulled over by a cop, even though I've killed like 60 people. I've robbed stores. I literally executed a cop and still couldn't get arrested. Not sure what's going on there. It's a load of fun. I don't get it. I don't understand it.
Oh God.
Before I move on, there was a cop at a red light, and I flew past him going like 130 miles an hour. He just honks his horn, and I turn around and I fly past him again. Still doesn't try to arrest me. Even though our friend Alex got arrested by selling ice cream down by the... I don't get it.
Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna yes.
Oh yeah. Alex, I don't think Alex will hear this. Me and our other friend Craig, when we go back playing, we're going to stop every cop and say that there's someone with a gold ice cream truck robbing people, which is what our friend Alex uses. So there's a big manhunt in the city to go get him.
Oh God, yes. Oh, I approve.
As for VR, I think since the last time I was on, I didn't have a VR headset.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And now I have two. I'll run through PSVR since we've played it together. I played the usual games, Beat Saber, Super Hot. Not much really to touch on that. I think everyone who has a VR has played it. They're both amazing.
Oh God.
And then we played, what was it, Firewall?
Yeah, Firewall 0 Hour. That's it. I couldn't remember the 2 words after the...
Yeah, it is a Rainbow Six-ish VR first person.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to say other than it's really awesome and it's really immersive.
I knew it would be cool, but exactly how I feel when I get in it, it was unexpected to the point where, I stand up for VR games anyhow. And like even using
Hmm.
the aim controller, I'm like, yeah, I'll use it like a gun or that. But when I play, I find myself actually standing sideways, like to look down the gun and actually like, I've watched clips from like gun training for in movies, and like one I watched specifically was I watched the guy who trained Keanu Reeves
Ooh.
on gun training for John Wick 3. And I actually found myself using these moves in Firewall.
Yeah, you feel like a proper badass when you play that game,
You really do.
which is pretty great. Um, Other than that, I haven't been playing much PSVR because I just picked.
We, you forgot a major game we've played together.
What did we play together?
Star Trek Bridge Crew.
Oh my god, I forgot about that. We played Star Trek Bridge Crew. That completely went over my head. We played quite a bit of that.
That
That game's. Oh, the guy. Is that what you want to bring up?
yeah, that's why I'm laughing.
Oh my god.
So
This,
this game is
you set
super
it
fun.
up.
Like I had a total blast playing that, and I'm not really a Star Trek person. I'm much more of a Star Wars person. In fact, the only
Yeah.
Star Trek I've ever seen are the 3 movies that came out from J.J. Abrams. But
Hmm.
it
I'll
was.
say this.
Oh no, go
I'll
ahead.
say this. If you don't like Star Trek, watch the new show Discovery.
I've heard that's super good.
Now the first season isn't like 10 out of 10, but the second season they just aired is amazing. It's one of my favorite things on television.
I've heard it's incredibly good. So it's the 3 of us playing, us two and our friend Craig, and this guy comes in to join us for a mission. Now the 3 of us are in a party on PSN, so we can hear what the other guy is saying, but he can't hear us at all, which is not good because Craig was the captain and giving the orders to everyone. So we get in the mission and we start doing stuff, and we need power to be set to warp. But he doesn't know that. So how do we tell him? Brandon here just starts flailing his arm.
Hmm. I try my best to like emote that we need to go fast. I'm doing the running arms. I'm like, oh man, I was flipping out. I was getting mad.
And then eventually, like we don't hear anything out of him. Then eventually, you just get, just say something! And then ever since then, like all night and ever since then, just just say something.
He's walking his hallways in his house, just having nightmares about that situation.
I just if something happens where like communication broke down, like if we're doing something at work and it's like, oh, you should have told someone. The first thing that pops in my head is just say something.
Yeah, I mean, I emoted pretty well. I don't know how you didn't understand.
But overall, I had a blast with that game.
Yeah, I love
And
it.
honestly, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, I expected it to be like a gimmicky, like we'll play it for 10 minutes and
I'll tell you, as the pilot, it felt good. Like it didn't
Mhm.
feel like, oh, I'm just doing this thing. Like actually controlling the ship, that felt pretty natural.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't done a Star Wars version of that.
Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Star Wars VR has been pretty not, oh, excuse me, not good. But there is a game that just launched on the Oculus Quest and
Quest.
S, I think,
Yes.
which is Vader Immortal, which is getting nothing but praises. So I can't wait to hop into that.
That's one of the main reasons I want to get a Quest.
Yeah, which transition. I bought an Oculus Quest. I spent way too much on VR this past month.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
Oh, it's so worth it. Like, I can't begin to stress like how amazing this device is. It's not like you're playing on a $2,000 PC. But like most VR games are designed to look the way, most VR games don't look realistic or photorealistic.
Mhm.
They have a certain design because they're meant to be played on multiple types of PC. So most of it looks perfectly fine. Like Super Hot looks amazing. Beat Saber looks amazing. We've been playing a Poker Stars, which again, I don't know if that might be on PSVR. It's literally just you're sitting at a poker table and you're playing poker.
That is
Except
cool.
it has this little gimmick of it has a little item store, and I don't think you can purchase any of the money for it. You just earn it while playing, and you can buy you can buy a donkey, and you can put a cigarette in the donkey's mouth and it'll smoke it.
That's
Just sit there,
amazing.
donkey. And then if you put the donkey's ass to your mouth and you smoke it, you can smoke the cigarette.
That's awesome.
It's pretty crazy. I can't really speak a lot about it. It's poker. If you play poker, it's poker. But
Yeah.
I played Creed.
How is that?
Nothing. It's fun. It's not the best. I feel like I'm doing things it wants me to do, but it's not doing the things I'm doing.
Interesting.
Like it's telling me to put my hands up here and here, and I'm doing it, but it's not like I don't know. For like if it's like if you can get it for $10, I think it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
I wouldn't spend the amount of that I spent on. I'm trying to think of some of these I don't remember the name of. VR karts. It's a kart racing game. It's not that. It's something you would find on like iOS or something. Like some bootleg
Mhm.
Mario game. Sports Scramble, which is you're playing. I only played the demo, but you're playing like tennis, but then the balls and the tennis rackets change. So
Okay.
like, oh, suddenly you're using a baseball bat and you're hitting footballs. It almost broke my ceiling when I playing that game. So fuck that game.
Okay.
Rec Room, and then there's one I really wanted to talk about. What was it called? Gosh, I keep forgetting the name. Journey of the Gods.
Oh yes, you did mention
So
it.
I played about an hour and a half of that. It's a game developed by Turtle Rock Studio. The best way I can describe it is this weird like Zelda game. So you're in first person, you're walking around, you get a sword, you get a shield that looks awfully like Link's shield. Like almost to the point where I'm pretty sure Nintendo could copyright it.
Oh wow.
But like it moves so good, like the fluidness of it and everything. I haven't got to touch on a lot of the story, but it has a lot of really cool mechanics. There's a mechanic where you'll go to a boss and you do this. You click the two trigger buttons, and you flip your arms up, and suddenly you grow into this giant god. And you can like pull trees up to give you cover, and you can pull lightning from the sky and strike down like little enemies.
Huh.
It's a really wild, weird VR game that I've almost lost my balance like 12 times playing it.
Interesting.
And
Now, does the Quest come with the controllers too?
yeah, it's
Oh wow.
390. Yeah, it's 399. You get two controllers, which are compatible with the S. I think it's also compatible with the normal Rift. So if you ever want to get one of those,
Interesting. Because one thing I'd really like to do, and I don't know how they do it, but did you ever watch the Beat Saber videos like on YouTube?
which ones?
The ones that are like super nice and it's like behind the back, but the whole screen is Beat Saber.
Hmm.
Almost like the room is Beat Saber.
Yeah, that's what.
I need to find out
So
how to do that.
I don't know how to do that, but the technology in the headset is you don't need sensors. It has, I believe, four cameras, and they're like ultra wide cameras.
Mhm.
So you could, unlike a PSVR, for example, if you put your controller to the side of your head or something or behind it, it might lose tracking of it.
Mhm.
This you have full body motion.
That's
So
cool.
I tested out in Beat Saber, so I'm playing it and I spin around and I'm in the world of Beat Saber. Like when I turn around, I still see the world of Beat Saber. So I spin around, and I hit it, and I lay down on my back and I'm just smacking them as I go through. Like the tracking in it is absolutely insane.
That's incredible. And didn't I hear that there's like a camera or something so when you move out of like the basic field, like you can just see out the front of the Oculus?
Yeah, so you have two options when you first start it up. It's weird because it kind of knows when you're sitting. Because every time I boot it up and I'm sitting in a chair, it's like, you want to stay stationary, right? I'm like, how the fuck you? So you can also do one that's a guardian. So you'll go to whatever room you want. It's like select guardian mode. You look down the floor to make sure it's at floor level. If it's not, you move your control and touch the floor.
Hmm.
So then you're given the opportunity to like paint a circle or square or whatever. So you can actually like paint it around obstacles. So if you're getting towards an obstacle, you can just kind of peek out that window and walk around it, and then keep.
Okay.
I don't think there's a button to just make it go away. I think there is on the S, but
Now, the other question, storage. So I see there's two versions of it.
yeah,
There's the
64 is
64 and the
plenty.
128.
64 is plenty. You can download 40 games and still have 20 gigs left.
Okay.
All the games are like 200 megs, 300 meg. Some are gig.
Okay.
You have plenty of storage. Like no one's gonna go buy 50 games.
Okay. I just wasn't sure because space reasons anymore with games. You
Yeah.
never can be sure.
To me it's fine because I mean most of the apps are so small that you could just delete them if you wanted to. Like when I'm done with Vader Mortal, for instance, like I'm not gonna play that, right? I'm just gonna delete maybe re-download it a year later or something.
Yeah.
And you can also do a thing called I saved it somewhere to specifically talk about this. Gosh darn it! It is a V-Ridge, VR-Edge. So you can plug this headset into your PC and play games through Steam.
Okay.
So it adds like even more of a craziness to it. Now I think it is wireless. You can plug it into the USB, but from what I've seen online, it's completely like latency free.
Oh wow.
So I
Okay.
plan on checking that out when I have time to set it all up and everything.
And now these are questions that I just got the base from in Discord. Did you say there's a theater mode in it?
Yeah, so there's multiple ways you can do that. There's big screen beta, which is an actual theater. You can like join people's rooms. I hopped in. Some guy was watching Dread 3D. I hopped out. I hopped in another. Some guy was watching Last Action Hero. The quality in it isn't the best right now, but it's also in early beta.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also ways you can watch movies with a friend. Maybe not the same thing, but there's party chat and everything. So me and
Okay.
Craig downloaded an app called Pluto TV, which I'm still not entirely sure how that thing exists because it's free. It's 100% free,
Mm-hmm.
and you load it up, and it's like you just open a menu for Comcast. There's all these live
Interesting.
channels, and the quality on it is amazing. I'm completely shocked.
And the last question I have, so 3D movies?
Amazing. I hate. Here's the thing. I hate 3D movies. I hated seeing them in theaters because I always had to put glasses on, and they never fit well over my glasses. And I had to even on like when I had a 3D TV, I just hated watching them. But in this headset, I can use this headset without my glasses and see fine
Interesting.
because it has this little I don't know what you call it not like 3D slider, but it's a slider like the 3D slider in
Yeah.
3DS, and it moves the lenses so you can position them to your eyes. Because some people's eyes like
Oh yeah.
not everyone's perfect.
No.
So like I've noticed between the PSVR I need my glasses, but this thing I don't have to wear my glasses because I can position the lenses.
That's interesting.
Which for
Huh.
some reason the S doesn't have that.
Really? You would think
Yeah,
it would because
yeah. I'm actually curious why they didn't just make it an all-in-one because the S is only literally just one wire. So why not just release a VR headset that can do both?
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, what I'll probably do is see if I can find it like a deal on Black Friday or something. Even if it's just like, $50 off or something, just something to help with it.
Yeah, I'm sure there's gonna be a deal. This People keep like whenever a VR headset comes out, people are like, "This is gonna be the flagship. This is gonna sell," and it's like this is the one true system that doesn't require anything, and it has full scale VR. You don't have to have a PC. You don't have to have a PlayStation. It's
That's
just
amazing.
it's crazy.
That's cool as shit. Anything else you've been playing?
No, that wraps it up.
Alrighty. As for me, I've played some more Dirt Rally 2. Uh, I finally bought a more powerful car, and by that I mean I bought a Mustang GT. I can't rally for shit in one of those. I came in, I think, 17th place, and I had to fix my car so many times. I had to go to a different mode to get more money first. Um,
Wow.
yeah. I played a little more Division 2. Just getting my gear score up a little more. I want to say I'm 387 right now. You need to be 490 for the raid, so I still have a way to go. Um, I'm hoping to get up there sooner rather than later because there is a trophy for beating the raid, so I'd really like to just take a day. Just like, all right, let's do this, guys, and find some people and just raid.
Yeah.
I also need I will need some people's help to get like a couple of remaining trophies I have left. Some of them probably won't be very hard at all. Um, the next one I didn't talk about very much, or I can't talk about very much, is the Castlevania Anniversary Collection. Um, I've played a few of the games. I haven't beaten any yet, but I'm getting this weird thing where occasionally it won't acknowledge my controller, and I have to close out and open it back up.
Weird.
And
Do you?
it'll do it upon getting in there and choosing a game. And after I choose a game, it'll be like, sorry, we don't know if you have a controller. But you press the L2 button and it'll bring up the menu. But any other button won't work. So I have to
Huh.
close out of the game and then reopen it. And then hopefully it works that time.
You're playing this on what platform?
PlayStation 4.
PlayStation 4? Dang. So it sounded like you said PlayStation. Stupid joke. I
Yeah,
played. I played a little of it on Switch. I didn't have too many problems.
yeah, you said you beat Kid Dracula?
Yeah, I played it in handheld, so that's why I didn't get any of the. Kid Dracula is a fun game.
I
It's
I still need to play that one.
it's Castlevania, all right. Uh, Fun fact though, the first boss in that game are they look to be two goats, but in the Japanese version they have swastikas on
Huh.
their head.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a good thing they took those off.
Yeah, that's just weird.
I also played Castlevania 2, but only to get to the best song in the Castlevania franchise.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
Also, I can't hear it anymore without thinking of Barkerville.
Barkerville, Barkerville.
Damn it. Um, the only other thing that really comes to, oh, I played a little Darkwood, not too much. I enjoyed what I played, but just got distracted. But other than that, I've been playing Slay the Spire, which I really, really like.
My man.
Um, I had heard from a bunch of people, Brandon here being one of them, I had heard about how good it was. And it had my attention, but also I wasn't like super into it. But I'm like, alright, you know what, it's coming out on PS4, it's at a bit of a discount. You know what? Sure. So I pre-ordered it. I started playing it that morning. I played it for like 2 hours and I didn't want to go to work. It was
It's
just
addictive.
so good. Um, it is a roguelike. It's roguelike meets Final Fantasy meets Magic.
Deck, yeah, deck. It's a
Yeah.
like a deck building game.
It is a roguelike with turn-based combat, but the turn-based combat uses cards.
Yeah.
And is like almost perfect. Like, I can't believe how much I have played it since I got it. I am not good at it. I actually saved the game before we started, and I'm having a pretty dang good run, which is amazing because normally they're not good at all. I'm trying to think if I've played anything else. I don't believe so. Yeah, I think it's everything. I feel like I'm missing something, so it's gonna come to me at some point. Yeah, no, okay. For a second I thought I had it, but it didn't. Oh, yes, I did. It finally hit me. I played My Big Sister. It is a pixelated horror game. I'm actually going to be putting out a review of this. It is a pixelated horror game from, and I'm so sorry to the company, Stranja Games. I'm not sure exactly which country they're from. And published by Radalika. Ritalik? I'm going to go with Radalika. And it's essentially the story of this girl named Lucia and her sister Sombria. And it gets really weird. Like, I I like the way the story goes. It's right in my wheelhouse, but I don't fully understand it. Um, and there are like 6 or 7 different endings, so I don't know which one is supposed to be like the ending. But it's essentially, you're going through. It's almost like an adventure game, but it doesn't entirely make sense. I don't know if it's all in her mind or what, but the thing is, you'll go through, find this item, give it to this person, they will give you this item. Use this item over here to open this and get this item. It's got that kind of vibe to it. Um, Deals with witches and a noodle lady and a lot of blood and a pervy psychiatrist. It's really strange, but like I said, I like where it goes. I like the story elements. Like, I like that spooky story, but maybe not totally scary. But it just had enough to kind of bog it down. Where at the end of it, I'm like, I'm good, never touching this again. I did because the trophies are really easy. But if I could have beaten it and be like, all right, I'm good, I'm done. Now that was the last thing I was playing. I knew there was something. Let us get right into the news. So, we'll start with a slew of news from Sony and PlayStation. PS4's biggest exclusives are still coming to current gen. Sony confirmed that the biggest PlayStation 4 exclusives will still be coming to the current generation console, but didn't specifically rule them out appearing on PlayStation 5. During a Sony Investor Relations Day 2019 presentation, President and CEO of Sony Interactive Entertainment, Jim Ryan, spoke over a slide introducing key art for The Last of Us Part 2, Death Stranding, and Ghost of Tsushima, that focused on the critical role of PS4 over the next few years. Quote, "For the next 3 years or so, PS4 will be the engine of SIE's engagement and probability, as we seek to keep the existing owner base engaged and delighted and attract new owners from different markets and different demographics," said Ryan, speaking over the slide. "In this, we will be massively helped by an outstanding roster of new and exclusive games that have yet to be launched," end quote. The inclusion of these games in the PS4-centric slide confirms they are all still planned for the current generation. Blah blah. Alright, so what it's essentially saying is just kind of backing up, these are the games we showed as PlayStation 4 exclusives. They're going to be PlayStation 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is a good thing to reiterate, especially, we're getting this late, and some people have a PS4 and don't plan on upgrading right away, and then we're like, well, will I not be able to play that game now? So it's kind of just a reassurance, which I like.
Yeah, I can't wait for the PS5 boxes to say also plays on PS.
Yeah. It'll say PlayStation 4 and then have just like a little strip, also plays on PlayStation 5.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, Sony exploring PS5 cross-gen play with PS4 thanks to backward compatibility. Sony suggested it's exploring PlayStation 5 cross-gen play with PlayStation 4 thanks to backward compatibility in its next-generation console. During that same investor meeting, PlayStation heads indicated PS5 would include, you know what? Here's just a quote. Deputy President of Sony Interactive Entertainment John Kodera said through a translator, "Having compatibility is a positive thing. Not only can a game be played on the next-generation console, cross-generation, the community can enjoy the games together. Bridging that compatibility has a very important role to play." Prior to this quote, President and CEO, backwards compatibility of the networked era is something that's incredibly powerful. The gaming community is somewhat tribal in its nature. Backwards compatibility gives us the opportunity to migrate that community from PlayStation 4 to next gen, using the ability to play the PS4 games that they have on their next generation console, with groups of 10, 20, 50 gamers. We see this, given the size of the community that we've been able to accumulate over all these years on PS4, as a really critical success factor for us. We think it's really important. Okay, that was way too much for what needed to be said. But yeah, essentially, God, why did they talk that much? Essentially what it's saying is, you have this game on PS5. Your friend has it on PS4. You want to play co-op. Go ahead. Which, it may sound like, yeah, no kidding, why not? But over the past few years, we've learned that that's not how things work. So, again, another reassurance that we figured should be the case, but the thing I'm more interested about this is they are getting out and saying more and more about PlayStation 5. And I wonder if they're trying to get ahead a bit on what Microsoft is going to announce at E3. I don't know for sure how much Microsoft plans to talk about, but we know they are talking about something. And the last, I'm pretty sure the last Sony-related article, this one, so I don't have the article that starts off this one, but Sony confirmed they started a group called PlayStation Productions, which will house TV shows and movies based on Sony properties. The TV shows that they have announced so far are, well, okay, let me put it this way. There are two things that have been announced. One is a TV show and one is a movie. So we're going to start off with Sony Pictures Entertainment Chairman and CEO Tony, I'm not pronouncing that last name, explained that the recently announced PlayStation Productions has closed the deal for a Twisted Metal show. We have a TV show we just agreed to get underway that will be developed from the IP on PlayStation. It's called Twisted Metal. It's a game that was put out many, many years ago, and we're going to develop a TV series around that. While that's not really a whole lot to go on, it's understandable that that name would want to remind investors about the series alongside this news. The first Twisted Metal came out in '95, and the latest entry arriving back in 2012. Around the same time, a Twisted Metal movie was announced, but never actually made. Vinciquera also noted that the Uncharted movie it's been long talked about is in advanced development. It's unclear what that actually means, but 10 Cloverfield Lane director Dan Trachtenberg was revealed to be the director for it as recently as January of this year, after Stranger Things' Sean Levy stepped away from the project.
Ooh, I'm fine with that.
10 Cloverfield Lane was my favorite movie of that year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm happy with him. Also, Twisted Metal TV show.
Yeah, that one.
It has to be animated, right?
If it's not anime, that's got to have a ridiculous budget.
Yeah, I mean, I get why the movie was canceled because the game didn't sell.
See, I don't really know much anything about Twisted Metal, so
It's a neat idea. but I'm curious how they're going to execute it.
But yes, there's a Twisted Metal show in the works, which I find pretty fascinating. Next up, Mortal Kombat 11 and Days Gone are the best-selling games of April 2019. The NPD report for April 2019 is in, and Mortal Kombat 11 and Days Gone were the month's best-selling games in the United States. The report, with analysis from Matt Piscatella, notes that Mortal Kombat 11 instantly became the second best-selling game of 2019 year-to-date, and was the best-selling game on every platform it was released on: PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. This is the first time a third-party published game has been Nintendo Switch's best-selling title since Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle was released in 2017. That's a third-party game, but also has the Mario name in it, so I don't count it as much. Days Gone's debut month sales rank as the 7th highest in history for a Sony-published game, and in the time since its release has already become the best-selling game developed by Sony Bend in lifetime revenue. Coming in at third place is MLB 19 The Show, which is the best-selling sports game of 2019 year-to-date. Following them are The Division 2, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Grand Theft Auto 5. So, one of the things I find interesting here is Days Gone came in at second, and it was out for 4 days.
Yeah, especially because, like, it didn't get, like, 90s in the Metacritic.
Yeah, like, the scores it was getting weren't bad. The
Yeah,
scores it was getting were, this game is good, but
yeah,
it wasn't getting the scores that you think of when you think of a game selling like hotcakes like that.
yeah. When I was reading the reviews and, like, what people were saying online, they're like, oh, this game's, it's just another flop. And, like, no, it's going to get a sequel. It's probably going to get 2 sequels.
And honestly, so that's, I didn't talk about it, but I got the platinum in it. Since the,
Nice.
actually I think it was it? I think it was since we recorded, I finished up and got the platinum. The more I went through that game, the more I was like, this game goes too long, but also the more invested I got in the story and the characters. I think on the back end it did a pretty good job, but there were definitely plenty of problems. It's one of those games. Now, I told you about how I'm going to be doing more reviews, and I was recently listening to Greg Miller talk about this, and he's absolutely right. The hardest thing is separating reviewing a game and fun of a game. Because when you review a game, you want to give more of a critical eye to it. Critically, Days Gone has a bunch of problems. From a fun standpoint, I had a lot of fun with the game, and I have no problem recommending it to somebody.
Yeah.
So it's one of those times where the scores won't match the game itself, and it's kind of hard to really emphasize that. But that's why it doesn't surprise me that this game sold as well as it did, because I bet a lot of it was word of mouth. Hey, this game's actually pretty good. Or is people like, hey, it's another game from Sony, and Sony's games are all good. So, the thing that just surprised me is it was out for 4 days. That's it. And I did not expect it to see it that high on that list. And I think that really is something. And even MLB 19 The Show being as high as it is. The Division 2, Smash Brothers, GTA 5, I expect them on this list. Like, they're at no point am I shocked. But MLB 19 The Show and Days Gone being numbers 2 and 3. Again, Mortal Kombat I expect on the list too. Major release.
Yeah. MLB The Show is always like a big hit.
It is, but I didn't expect it to be big enough to outsell Super Smash Brothers.
That's pretty crazy.
Granted, Smash Brothers has been out a few months, but it's Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Everyone with a Switch is gonna buy that game probably.
That's why that's one of those games you can't argue that's been out for GTA 5. Go ahead, argue that that's been out for a little bit. So
Yeah.
I just I I find the news in this story more of how Days Gone is doing alongside the reviews it got. That's what makes this interesting to me. Next up, we have, to go along with something just posted in the Discord, Just Cause, John Wick creator to script movie adaptation of video game. The creator and writer of the John Wick films, Derek Kolstad, is set to be the screenwriter for a feature film based on the Just Cause franchise. As reported by Deadline, Constantine Film acquired the film rights for the Just Cause series and set Kolstad as the screenwriter. Kolstad, in addition to co-writing a screenplay for the recently released John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum, also recently sold another pitch to Sony for Booker, which is said to be a John Wick-esque hard-boiled action film with an African-American lead. The Just Cause film will reportedly follow, quote, the video game blueprint as Rico Rodriguez is on a race against time mission to stop the Black Hand, a lethal mercenary group. The Just Cause filmmakers expect to set a director quickly and a star as a 2020 start date is eyed by Constantine. So I'm kind of all in on this. Just because he's attached to it.
Yeah. But like, I've played a lot of Just Cause games, and I couldn't tell you a single story from any of them. Long as I'm seeing tanks flying in the air and
that's what matters.
A bunch of crazy stuff, I'm in.
And
that's such a weird game to be adapted.
That's what you always hear when it comes to the Just Cause games is, as long as I'm seeing crazy stuff happen, I'm fine.
Yeah. Man, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. It should be nuts.
Yeah. But hey, like I said, I am all in on it. Next up, World War Z Studio wanted to do a remake of Half-Life 2. Saber Interactive, the developer behind World War Z, approached Valve with the possibility of having it remake Half-Life 2. However, Valve responded that if a remake does happen, it will be done internally. Quote, after we did Halo Anniversary and Halo 2 Anniversary as part of the Master Chief Collection, I reached out to Gabe Newell personally because I knew him from a past life, and I said I want to remake Half-Life 2. That's all I want to do. I won't charge you anything for it. I'll do it for revenue, and doesn't even need to be a big rev share. I just really want to do it because I love that game so much, said Matthew Karch, CEO and co-founder of Saber Interactive. Valve, unfortunately for Saber, responded by saying, sorry, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it internally. He believes Saber is scratching that itch with World War Z on the Left 4 Dead side, but Gordon Freeman, man, he's as iconic as Master Chief. Where is it? I've never played a Half-Life game, but I know
I've played both, and Valve is never going to remake 2.
No, they're not.
So why not just give it to them?
That would be my thought too, honestly. Now, let's do a couple articles on THQ. THQ Nordic acquires PiranhaBytes. THQ Nordic is continuing their global conquest by acquiring more game developers, and they've confirmed their next acquisition, the Austrian developer PiranhaBytes. THQ is now the sole owner of both the PiranhaBytes team as well as both the trademark and intellectual properties Gothic, Risen, and Elix. That is they won't stop.
Yeah, they're the Disney video game company.
Did you recently hear how many IPs they currently have and how many games are currently in development?
I'm gonna say 60 games in development and 3,000 developers.
Currently 80 games in development.
Well, it's pretty close.
48 of which are unknown, like never announced. And before this, the one guy from them said a little over 200 IPs.
Huh.
THQ Nordic is silently one of the biggest companies in video games.
Yeah, that company is putting or publishing Biomutant.
Yes,
Yeah,
Biomutant is one of them.
that's one game I'm really looking forward
Uh, yeah, I'm always on the lookout for THQ Nordic stuff because I just find everything they do right now so fascinating.
to. I also have to imagine one of those games unannounced is Titan Quest
I could see that.
because they literally like I think last year bought the IP. They re-released it and they brought out two DLCs a decade after the game was out.
Oh wow.
That's insanity. Like one of them just came out, I think a week ago. Pretty nuts.
I just THQ is what are they doing?
Taking over the world, baby.
Speaking of THQ, THQ Nordic greenlights new AAA project from 4A Games. THQ Nordic has announced that they've greenlit a new project from Metro series developer 4A Games. While details are scant, the publisher notes the new deals for an upcoming, still undisclosed AAA project. Oh, in fact, right here it mentions THQ also noted their collective groups under THQ Nordic, Deep Silver, and Coffee Stain Studios all have a cumulative 80 games in development, 48 of which are unannounced. That is ridiculous. And while we're talking about THQ and Metro Exodus is the biggest hit for THQ Nordic, but, quote, absolute majority of sales were on consoles. While Metro Exodus has been available for PC and consoles, the PC release saw a bit of controversy as it dropped the planned Steam release for Epic Store exclusivity. This naturally affected sales, and the game has reportedly sold much more on gaming consoles, not PC. A new Q&A session with THQ Nordic CEO Lars Wingefors notes the, quote, absolute majority, end quote, of the sales for the game were on gaming consoles despite the game being the largest game launch in their history, and that has blown past recouping its development and marketing costs. Despite the good sales, the game reportedly performed in line with management's expectations. It's worth noting the game will be exclusive for the Epic Store for a year, after which it will return to Steam. I really liked Metro Exodus.
Yeah, I never beat it, but I put quite a few hours in the game.
I played it much more than I expected. Now, I have 2 stories left. And one of them is maybe a total bummer. They're not confirming. And the other one is just so funny because of how bad it is. First up, Nippon Ichi Software responds to a report of financial troubles and employee pay. Following a report and rumors of Japanese developer Nippon Ichi Software having financial troubles and employees supposedly going unpaid, we've gotten some clarification from the company on the whole ordeal. Quote, we deny rumors of NIS staff not being paid. Current operations at the company are not affected, which include employee salaries, an NIS America representative said to Niche Gamer. To recap, the Japanese company was reportedly selling off stocks for low prices in an effort to generate quick income. This, however, devalues the stock already owned by investors. The financial report, which is really the only thing actually confirmed, was then followed by rumors the company wasn't able to pay its staff. We now know this is to be untrue per the above statement. What is going on over there?
No idea.
NIS, please don't go. I love you so much. You make so many amazing games. Even if they're, like, not great, I love them so much. Times. Now, let's get to the story that I find incredibly funny. Epic Games allegedly sent GDRP personal info to the wrong person. After an already disastrous week with issues rising from the Epic Mega Sale on the Epic Game Store, Epic Games are now being accused of sending personal information to the wrong person. A user on Reddit going by the name Turbotoes3000 made a post to the r/fuckepic subreddit. He created a thread titled, "They literally sent my personal info to a random person. The info I requested with GDPR." Along with the above picture allegedly being Epic's message to them saying, "Hello, redacted. We regret to inform you that, due to human error, A player support representative accidentally also sent the information you requested to another player. We quickly recognized this mistake and followed up with the player, and they confirmed that they deleted it from their local machine. We regret this error and can't apologize enough for this mistake. As a result, we've already begun making changes to our process to ensure this doesn't happen again. Thanks for your understanding.
So, they've confirmed the guy locally deleted the information, even though that guy didn't delete that information.
Yeah. Hey, can you delete stuff? Sure, totally, as he hits save.
Mm-hmm. Sure, let me finish writing this down. Alright, so it's done, deleted.
They state the alleged personal information included my address, my name, my purchase history, and my purchase info. They also state their dissatisfaction that they, quote, just get sorry, and after that they have the guts to ask if I was happy with their service.
Not only that, some people got banned for buying too many games too fast.
God, that whole thing was...
Man.
Oh yeah, the user also edited their post adding, I forgot that it also included my IP address.
That's not terribly too hard to get hold. I would be more upset about, like, personal information. Like, purchase history, like, potentially credit card and all that.
Update. In addition, Turbotoes 3000 claims he was contacted by the individual who received their information after they brought attention to the issue on Reddit. The alleged message claimed Epic had only acted after the individual notified them that the information had been sent to the wrong person. Quote, I got an email from Epic yesterday. After that I went to Reddit to let everyone know, and after a few hours came a DM from someone who said they received the email. With proof, he showed that Epic Games sent him the email and he reported it because of that. I was notified. So Epic did oopsie, kind sir, reported it, and at last I knew about it.
Oh, it's one of those I'm only sorry because I got caught situations from Epic.
Wow.
Because if that other guy wouldn't have contacted Epic, they probably would have never done anything about it. It's pretty bad.
It's still going. I just want you to know, I'm like part way down this page.
Hey man, it's all about choices.
The same post was also made by the user on the r/PC gaming subreddit. There, in the original fuck Epic thread, user, I'm not going to pronounce that, an alleged Epic Games representative replied. While they apologized again, they disputed that alleged information had been shared. As mentioned in the message that was screen capped, this was the result of a regrettable error that we are owning, and we notified you as soon as we could. However, the information in the report doesn't include your mailing address, your birthday, nor the details of your payment methods. If the accusation itself is true, that means Turbotoes received his GDPR request for collected personal information. Therefore, they would know exactly what someone else had received if an exact duplicate had been sent to another person.
And I wonder how many people had their information sent and they just weren't notified because the people who got that information never replied back. Wow. This also happened somewhere else where people were logging into like other people's accounts. I think it was Fallout 76. It was Bethesda.
This is just amazing. I just find that whole thread just so fascinating.
Yeah.
But that's everything I have news-wise this week. Brandon, can you think of anything else you think we should talk about?
News-wise? I haven't really been seeing anything in the news.
I mean, there was that whole Sony partnering with Microsoft thing, but that...
Really nothing at this point.
Yeah, we don't know anything about it, so there's no point really.
Online's coming to Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, DC Online coming to Switch.
Yeah, I can't wait for RuneScape to come to Switch. It's about time. Yeah, I don't think there's like anything new in the news to talk about.
Alright. Well, in that case, guys, we'll be back in 2 weeks with our E3 predictions.
I'm
because
gonna win it this year.
that is the Friday right before E3, and there will be, instead of going 2 weeks until the next episode will be the week afterwards. It will be the E3 week. Um, we are not going to do one right after the press conferences, just because even after the conferences, stuff will get announced at E3. We just want to make sure we have the most up-to-date information. So until then, make sure to send those reviews in. Share it out, pimp out the podcast. That's a huge help. And if you have any questions or comments, remember you can send them to locolizardcast@gmail.com, because lizardcast@gmail.com was already taken by somebody and I have no idea who it is. Until next time, good night, listeners. Good night.